Hello everyone, welcome to my channel again. This is Bernie, of course, and we're back to talk some more about self-esteem. And I wanted to say to you, when I mentioned Abraham Maslow's heresy chart, that has to do with motivation. And the reason self-esteem is in there is because self-esteem has a whole lot to do with motivation. Okay, depending on how you feel about yourself, how high your self-esteem is, has to do with your level of motivation. Okay, but anyway, getting back to the self-esteem aspect, uh, another thing I wanted to clear up was uh, the only one that can really lower someone's self-esteem is the person himself. However, there are contributing factors, all right? Because you have to have a high self-esteem, you have to feel really good about yourself. Uh, you have to know that you can do things. And so with that being said, uh, things that can contribute to a person lowering their self-esteem and starting to uh, think lower about themselves. Uh, those could be anything. It could be uh, something like a divorce. Okay, uh, one person or the other in a marriage, when they decide to get a divorce, is for one reason or the other. It could be because one of the two people involved in that divorce is constantly putting the other person down, uh, acting like they're worthless, just talking down to them. All right, and this can happen with students in school because teachers could be doing it. It can happen with children because their so-called friends are doing it. Uh, death in a fa- death in a family can lower self-esteem. On a job, it can be a boss. Now, the way that a boss can work on you to lower your self-esteem is if your boss is a bully and he's always writing you, uh, always telling you that what you do is not the way he would do it, and so you shouldn't be doing it that way, you should be doing it his way, uh, things like that. Because what that is that shows a boss that is insecure. There, let me get that right. That's insecure. And so nothing you're going to do is going to please him. Nothing you're going to do is he going to come up and tell you, oh, that was a wonderful job you just did. Or you did a really great job on this presentation, or the way this setup looks, things like that. He's going to constantly be telling you, well, you could have done a better job. I think you should have did it this way, that way, or the other. There's also going to be times where he's not going to say anything to you. He'll walk by, look at what you did, and think, okay, you know, you think, okay, well, he didn't say anything bad, so it must be good. You go home for the night, you come back the next day, and he has either himself changed what you just did completely or had somebody else do it. This is another way to get to you without verbally opening his mouth and saying something, his or her mouth, and saying something to you. This happens a lot. People, it's like bosses nowadays, they don't realize this younger generation is coming up is very sensitive. It's a very sensitive generation. Some of the older people now are getting more sensitive as well. So when you have a boss that's like that, and he's constantly coming down on you, yelling and screaming at you in front of other people, then that's most likely you're going to want to change that job. The other thing I wanted to tell you about, if you do realize and think about you need to change that job, then you want to take as much as you can and take as much time as you can and look for another job. Don't leave your job without having another one unless you are sure that something bad is going to happen between now and then. It's always better before you leave a job to have another one set up and ready to go to. That way you can give a 2-week notice. If it don't work out, it don't work out. If the 2-week notice doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. There are some bosses out there that just don't care, and you go to give them a 2-week notice and they say, see you later, why wait 2 weeks? Go ahead and leave now. Do it. You know, I'm sure you'll be able to survive between leaving that job and starting your next job. But it's always better if you can locate another job beforehand and start on it, or be prepared to start on it and still give your 2-week notice. Because a boss that's a bully, you don't know, you're going to have to use that job as a reference as well. So you don't know what he's going to say, all right? And if you just walk out the door on him, he's going to, of course, when they go to check up on you to see how you were at the other job, that boss just blatantly blurts out, oh, he or she just walked off the job. Well, that's all right. He can say that because they're going to ask you about that. And you can go into it a little bit without really super putting down your ex-boss or your future ex-boss, okay? That makes you look good, for one thing. And the other thing is, there's only so much you can take from a boss like that. And if he or she is going to keep it up, then you need to do something. Now, if they attack you personally, you need to put a stop to that, okay? You're going to have to speak up. Now, depending on how strong-willed you are, don't get confrontational. Just speak up and say, hey, I don't appreciate you talking about me or my family that way, and I'm not going to put up with it, okay? And let it go at that. Turn around, walk away. Let him or her have time to think about it, you know. They can think about what they said to you. The other thing is, sometimes a boss that's a bully can get physical, and you want to watch out for that, because that will have an effect on how you feel about yourself as well. Being put down all the time makes you feel bad enough about yourself as it is, and you start thinking that maybe you just can't do that job, or you're not good at anything, and there's where your self-esteem starts going down, because you are bringing your own self-esteem down by letting other people get to you and get you to thinking and believing that you're not as confident as you are. And an example of that is a few years back, I used to work construction, and I was really good at it. And we had a kid there that been working a job for several years, and he didn't call in one day saying he was going to be late. He didn't call in to let the boss's secretary know that he was going to be late. And the boss is actually the owner of the company. So when he came out to the job site and the kid showed up for work, the boss told him he wanted to talk to him. He took him over and set him down. The boss set him down in his car, and you could see that they were in a pretty heated conversation. You can also see the kid that he was having this conversation with. He turned and kind of looked out the window, and you could see this look of distress in his face, which told me that something not so good was about to happen. And it did. I was there, and I was closest to the car, and I was there, and I looked up, and owner of the company got out of the car, and he walks around to the passenger side, and the window was down, and all of a sudden he just reached in through that window, grabbed that kid by his shirt up here by his shoulders, and literally pulled that kid out of the car and threw him down on the ground and told him, "Get your A to work." I went running over there. I got in between them, and I told him to back off. And then I told the kid to get in my car. And the kid went and got in my car, and I grabbed all my stuff and was walking to my car, and he says, "Where are you going?" I says, "As far away from here as I can get." He says, "If you leave, don't come back." And I looked over my shoulder and I says, "Oh, you don't have to worry about that." And I took this kid first to the hospital, had him checked out, and was talking to him, and I told him that he needed to find another job, get away from this guy, because this could only escalate to something a lot worse. And also he needed to file an assault charge, which he did. He filed an assault charge. He checked out okay at the hospital, some bruises and bruised feelings, but he checked okay out at the hospital, and he filed charges. But he told me, he says, and this is what told me how he thought about himself and how his self-esteem was. He told me, he says, "I have to go back, you know that, right?" And I said, "Why? All the jobs out there in this world, why do you have to go back?" He says, "That's the only thing I can do. I don't know how to do anything else." And I knew right then that he was going to end up back on that job. I never did. It's not right. That doesn't set well with me. I'm not that kind of person. And I'm not going to take bullying from my bosses either. I mean, usually when I have a boss that usually is trying to hammer on me or bully me or something like that, I usually don't even look at him. I just keep doing what I'm doing, and he'll walk away. Or I'll walk away and go find something else to do until he leaves the area I was working in and go back. Excuse me. You want to try not to get confrontational, but you also want to be strong, and you need to keep a good feeling about yourself. You want to keep that confidence up, keep that self-esteem up. Don't let them get you to thinking on the terms that you're worthless or you just don't know how to do anything, because a lot of bosses are going to be that way. That's the way they get a lot of things done, is by bullying. You know, not every boss is like that. There are some wonderful bosses out there, business owners and stuff, that really take the time to tell you you did a good job, that you are really good at what you do. You know, those pats on the back help. They help you think well and think highly of yourself, and that's what you need to do. Even if you're going to leave a job, you still need to think highly of yourself. You still need to know that you can do things. Otherwise, you leave that job and you go to another job, you're going to start messing up a lot on that job, and you're just going to say, "Well, I just can't do things. I just can't do anything right." That's not true. You can't let, in a divorce, you can't let your spouse, bring you down. I mean, it happens. You see people all the time. Abusive situations is a good example of that, where a person stays, they say, "Well, I love this person. I love this person." Well, you might love that person, but how's that person really feel about you? They're beating on you, or they're putting you down and trashing you and all that kind of stuff. So how's that person really love you? That's why a lot of these type situations end up in death and stuff. Children are the same way. They're being bullied by people who are insecure with themselves, and that ends up can end up leading to suicide, or to a kid going off and going back to school with a gun, like what's going on now. So thinking highly of yourself, that's what you need to do. You need to do that. You need to be confident in yourself. Have some confidence. These things are going to motivate you to do better, to go out and achieve what you want to achieve. If you say you can do something, if you can say you can do anything, know that you can do it. Know that you can do it. So that way when you go to try to do it, you don't fail. Okay? Sometimes failing is not a bad thing. Sometimes failing is good. Because you fail at something, you learn. You learn what you did wrong, and you know not to do that again. Okay? A lot of people who fail at something, they put themselves down. Well, here I go again. I can't do that either. So what good am I? That happens a lot. And I caught myself doing that a few times, back throughout life. I mean, it happens. And on the heresy chart, that pushes you back down another step or two. And then you have to rebuild those 2 steps again before you can actually really get working on that self-esteem again. And so those are the points I wanted to give you today. I'm going to do at least one more video on this, giving you some tips of what you can do to build that self-esteem and keep that self-esteem up there. But this video today is to give you an idea of the circumstances that you're in that lead you to not have confidence in yourself, not believe in yourself, and starting to think lower of yourself. And I see a lot of people out there do a lot of things that we consider stupid, just about anybody would consider it stupid. And it's not that they're stupid. It's just that they're not thinking about what they're doing. And they're not thinking about the proper way to go about doing what it is they're doing. And so we use the term, all of us use the term stupid, or that person's an idiot, when they're really not. It's just that they don't think enough about themselves to be able to do things in a way that looks right to most of us. Okay? So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here for today. And on my next video, that'll probably be the last one for this little segment, and then I'll go into some other things. But in that next video, I'm going to give you some ideas of what you can do to help keep your self-esteem up, help keep your confidence up, how to deal with a boss that's like that, and even how to deal with other people that tend to enjoy putting someone down to try to get them to lose confidence in themselves and lower their self-esteem to come down to the level that they're at. Because most of that is just insecurity. They don't feel good about themselves, so they think if they don't feel good about themselves, why should you be feeling good about yourself? What makes you so different than them? Well, the thing that makes you different is you have a lot of confidence in yourself. You have a lot of self-respect. You know what you want to do, and you're going to do it. You know what you want in life, and you're going to get it. One way or the other, you're going to get it. You're going to keep driving and just keep working at it until you do achieve that. And that's where high self-esteem comes in. So you think about some of the things that I've mentioned today, and like I said, in the next video, I will let you know what type of things you can do to help keep that self-esteem up and just help keep building it, because self-esteem is a lifetime thing. You're going to build it over a lifetime. Sometimes you're going to fall a little bit, falter a little bit, but you pick yourself back up and you get it back. Okay? So if you like this video, go ahead, leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay? You guys have a really wonderful day. Bye.